You are not alone anymore. I'll protect you.
After 300 years, someone finally came for me. I thought my empire was gone forever.
Empires fall, but hope survives.
I lost an empire.
But together, we'll build a future.
No! The royal beacon has awakened. They know I'm alive.
Then they will have to come through me first.
Some secrets do not die with empires. They drift in silence, waiting for one honest heart to wake them again. The salvage belt of Vera 9 was the kind of place no proud captain ever visited, unless his engines were failing or his luck had already died. Broken warships floated between fields of black ice. Old merchant vessels spun slowly in the dim light of a blue dwarf star. Pieces of forgotten satellites moved like dead leaves through the dark. Cole Arden guided his battered salvage tug through that graveyard with tired eyes and steady hands. His ship, the Rust Finch, coughed every time he pushed the engines too hard. The cockpit smelled of metal dust, cold coffee, and old wiring. A cracked warning light blinked above his navigation screen, reminding him for the third time that his oxygen scrubbers needed servicing. Cole tapped the panel. Later, he muttered. The ship beeped as if offended. Cole smiled faintly. You know I still love you. Nobody answered except the soft hum of machines. That was how most of his days went. He worked alone. He ate alone. He talked to a ship old enough to hate him back. Across the galaxy, rich merchants bought new cruisers. Admirals commanded shining fleets, and explorers received medals for discovering planets that already had names from the people living there. Cole bought junk. He searched dead ships for usable parts. He stripped broken engines, traded old alloy, repaired forgotten machines, and made just enough money to survive another month. It was not a glorious life, but it was honest. Honest work was the only inheritance his father had left him. The auction feed flashed across his display. Another batch of abandoned vessels had been released from station storage. Most were useless. A burned fuel tanker, 2 pirate skiffs with cracked reactors, a medical transport stripped bare long before it reached the belt. Then one listing froze. Him unknown vessel. Registry missing, estimated. Age 321. Years interior scan incomplete structural. Condition unstable. Opening bid 1,000 credits. Cole leaned closer. No registry? That was strange. Every ship had a history. Even illegal ships left traces. Docking records, fuel signatures, old military tags, insurance claims, black market whispers. This vessel had nothing. It was as if someone had carefully removed it from history. Cole stared at the grainy image. The ship was long and elegant, curved like a silver bird sleeping among wreckage. It did not look like a fighter. It did not look like a freighter either. Its outer hull was too beautiful for a machine built only to travel. He should have ignored it. He should have bought the fuel tanker. At least that had parts he could sell. Instead, his finger moved to the bid control. 1,000 credits, he said. There goes dinner. The system chimed, property transfer complete. Cole sighed and sat back. Congratulations, Cole. You are now the proud owner of a mystery that will probably kill you. 2 hours later, the Rust Finch locked magnetic clamps around the strange vessel. Up close, the ship looked even older and even less dead. A thin layer of crystal dust covered the hull, but beneath it the silver surface remained smooth. No meteor scars, no burn marks, no signs of battle. A ship that had drifted for 3 centuries should have been wounded by space itself. This one looked untouched. Cole attached his helmet, checked his suit pressure, and crossed the docking bridge. The outer hatch resisted at first. Then, after his scanner touched the panel, a line of pale gold light spread across the door. Cole stopped. That is not normal. The hatch opened. Air breathed out from the ship. Not stale air, not poisonous air. Clean air. It carried the faint scent of rain and flowers. Cole stood there in silence, staring into the dark corridor beyond the hatch. Okay, he whispered. Definitely not normal. He stepped inside. His boots touched a floor made of polished white alloy. The corridor ahead curved gently, lined with patterns of silver vines and stars. His flashlight moved over walls that had no rust, no dust, no decay. Everything was too clean, too preserved. The deeper he walked, the more the ship seemed to wake around him. Soft lights glowed beneath the floor. Symbols appeared on nearby panels. Somewhere far within the vessel, a low sound pulsed like a sleeping heartbeat. Cole held his scanner higher. "Power readings?" he murmured. "After 3 centuries?" The scanner flickered wildly. Then one line appeared. "Life support active." Cole stopped walking. Another line appeared. "Biological signature detected." His mouth went dry. Heartbeat confirmed. 1 occupant. Status: dormant. Cole stared at the screen. A living heartbeat. Inside a ship lost for 321 years, every salvager's instinct screamed at him to leave. Old ships were dangerous. Unknown ships were worse. Unknown ships with living things inside were nightmares waiting to become expensive funerals, but the heartbeat pulsed. Again, slow. Steady, alone. Cole closed his eyes for a second. His father's voice returned from memory. "Broken. Things are not always worthless, son. Sometimes they are just waiting for someone patient enough to care." Cole exhaled. "Fine," he said quietly. "Let us see who you are." The scanner led him to a circular chamber at the center of the vessel. A sealed door stood there, tall as a cathedral gate, covered in symbols his translator could not understand. At the center of the door, one small crystal glowed green. Cole touched the panel beside it. The entire chamber filled with soft golden light. A voice spoke through hidden speakers. It was musical and gentle, but the words were unknown. His translator struggled, then produced a broken sentence. "Royal preservation sequence active." Cole froze. "Royal?" The door unlocked. Layer after layer of ancient mechanisms shifted with graceful precision. Air moved through the chamber like a sigh held for centuries. The door opened, revealing a room bathed in blue light. At the center stood a transparent stasis capsule. Inside it lay a woman. Cole forgot how to breathe. She looked young, perhaps in her 20s, though the ship's age made that impossible. Her skin was pale like moonlit marble. Long silver hair floated around her in the preservation field. A thin crown rested above her brow, set with a blue crystal that glimmered faintly. Her gown was white and gold, elegant beyond anything Cole had ever seen outside museum records. She did not look like a monster. She did not look like treasure. She looked like someone sleeping through the end of the world. The capsule chimed. Cole stepped back and raised both hands. "I am not here to hurt you," he said. Though he knew she could not hear him, the crystal above her brow flashed once. Her fingers moved. Cole's heart began beating faster than the scanner's pulse. The transparent cover lifted. The woman inhaled sharply and opened her eyes. They were not blue or green or brown. They were amber, bright and deep, as if they held the last sunlight of a vanished world. She sat upright with sudden grace, her gaze moving across the chamber, the walls, the open door, and finally Cole. For a moment neither of them spoke. Then she said something in a language older than every empire Cole knew. His translator. Took several seconds. "Identify." "Yourself," Cole swallowed. "My name is Cole Arden. I am a salvager. I found your ship." The translator repeated his words in her language. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Not with fear. With discipline. Found," she repeated through the device. "This vessel belongs to the House of Oralis." "By what authority did you board it?" Cole winced. "Well," he said slowly, "technically I bought it." The translator spoke. The woman stared at him. "You purchased the royal vessel?" Cole rubbed the back of his neck. "For 1,000 credits." Silence. The woman looked as if he had slapped a ghost. Then her gaze shifted past him, toward the corridor and the stars beyond. Her voice softened. "Where's the Imperial escort?" Cole said nothing. "Where is the fleet?" Still he said nothing. The woman stood carefully, stepping out of the capsule. Despite centuries of sleep, she moved with balance and authority. She walked to a console and placed her hand upon it. The ship responded immediately. Holograms burst to life around the chamber. Star maps, fleet markings, royal seals, lines of ancient script. The woman moved through them quickly, searching, demanding answers from a galaxy that no longer remembered her. One by one, the displays failed. Imperial network unavailable. Royal. Channel silent, military command not. Found colonial registry inactive, central archive. Disconnected. The woman's face did not break. But Cole saw the truth reach her. It entered her slowly. Like winter entering a room, she turned toward him. What year is it? Cole checked his wrist terminal and told her. The number meant nothing to him. To her, it destroyed everything. Her lips parted slightly. No, she whispered. Cole lowered his eyes. I am sorry. She looked back at the silent displays. The war, she said. The Varen Dominion. Did we win? Cole's translator gave the words in pieces. I have never heard of the Varen Dominion, he answered. The chamber became very quiet. The woman's hand trembled once before she folded it into a fist. Everyone knew them, she said. Every world feared them, Cole spoke gently. 300 years can erase a lot. She closed her eyes. When she opened them again, she looked older. Not in her face, but in the weight behind her eyes. My father, she said. The words stopped there. Cole did not rush to fill the silence. He had seen grief before. Not royal grief. Not ancient grief. But grief was grief. It did not care whether someone wore a crown or a torn jacket. It arrived the same way for everyone. The woman walked to the observation window. Outside, the salvage belt drifted in cold blue light. Thousands of broken ships surrounded them. She placed one hand against the glass. My people believed our empire would outlast the stars. Cole stood several steps behind her, keeping respectful distance. Stars last longer than pride, he said quietly. But people can carry what empires leave behind. She turned slightly. For the first time, she truly looked at him, not as an intruder, not as a scavenger, as a man. What is your name again? She asked. Cole Arden. I am Leora Oralis, she said, daughter of Emperor Sereth, last heir of the House of Oralis. Cole nodded slowly. Then I am sorry, Princess Leora. Her expression changed at the title. It seemed to hurt her. Do not call me that yet, she whispered. I do not know if the word still belongs to anything. The next hours passed in careful silence. Cole did what he understood best. He repaired things. The royal ship had survived centuries. But survival was not the same as strength. Power relays were unstable. Several oxygen regulators were locked in emergency mode. The stasis chamber had drained most of the reserve energy. If Cole did not stabilize the systems, the beautiful vessel might finally die after refusing death for 300 years. He crawled beneath panels, pulled burned connectors, replaced cracked stabilizers, and argued with machines in 3 different languages. Leora followed him through the corridors. At first, she simply watched. You do not have repair drones? She asked. Cole tightened a bolt with his teeth clenched around a small light. Sold them. Why? Needed money for fuel. She seemed disturbed by this. Then who maintains your vessel? Cole pulled the light from his mouth. Me. And if the repair requires precision? I do it carefully. She studied him as if he were a strange new species. In my time, royal engineers trained for 20 years before touching systems like these. Cole shrugged. I trained by being poor. For a second, Leora did not understand, then surprisingly she smiled. It was small, almost invisible, but it changed her face. Cole returned to work before she could notice he had noticed. By the time the main corridor lights came on, the ship looked less like a tomb and more like a memory breathing again. Golden vines shimmered across the ceiling. Blue crystals glowed along the walls. Hidden fountains, dry for centuries, began circulating silver mist through garden chambers filled with sleeping seeds. Leora stood beneath the restored lights, staring upward. I forgot how beautiful it was, she whispered. Cole wiped grease from his hands. Whoever built this ship loved it. My mother designed parts of it, Leora said. She believed a vessel carrying people through darkness should remind them why light mattered. Cole looked around. She was right. Leora's eyes softened. Later, he brought 2 metal cups from the rustfinch. What is this? She asked. Coffee. Is it medicine? Some people think so. She took a cautious sip. Her eyes widened. Cole waited. This is terrible, she said. He laughed. A moment later, she took another sip, but strangely comforting. That is coffee. They sat on the floor of an ancient royal corridor while the ship hummed around them. A princess from a dead empire and a salvager with oil on. His sleeves drank cheap coffee beneath carvings made for emperors. Leora held the cup with both hands. You repaired my ship before asking what I could give. You? Cole looked confused. Was I supposed to ask first? Most would. I found someone alive in a broken ship. That seemed more important than profit. She watched him carefully. In my court, kindness always had a purpose. Cole leaned back against the wall. Out here, kindness is sometimes the only thing keeping people alive. The words stayed with her. For the first time since waking, Leora did not feel completely alone. The ship could not travel on its own. Its engines were too old and too damaged. Cole decided to tow it to a nearby station where he could buy replacement parts. Before departure, Leora stood on the bridge of her family's vessel, looking at the dead ships outside. So many forgotten stories, she said. Cole connected the towing clamps from his cockpit. Stories are only lost when nobody bothers to listen. She looked toward his tug on the display. And do you listen, Cole Arden? He smiled faintly. I buy junk for a living. Listening is half the job. The rust finch pulled the ancient royal ship away from the salvage belt. Behind them, the blue dwarf star faded slowly. Ahead, open space stretched wide and uncertain. For Leora, every star was both familiar and strange. The sky remained, but the names had changed. Borders had moved. Governments had fallen. Languages had shifted. Her entire world had become history, yet the man beside her, connected only by a docking tunnel and a stubborn sense of decency, kept reminding her that the future still had room for choice. During the journey, she told him about her family, her father who wore a crown but hated ceremony, her mother who filled warships with gardens, her younger brother who used to hide in diplomatic meetings and draw stars on official documents, the festivals, the music, the silver trees that bloomed aboard royal vessels during spring. Cole listened without interrupting. Leora noticed that many people had heard her speak in the past. Ministers, guards, teachers, nobles, they had listened because duty required it. Cole listened because he wanted to. That difference mattered. In return, Cole told her about Earth. He told her about oceans, old fishing boats, rain on metal roofs, and a father who taught him how to repair engines before he was tall enough to reach the workbench. He told her how his father died owing money to 3 stations and leaving behind only tools, debts, and 1 lesson. If something can be fixed, Cole said, you try. Leora looked at him, and if it cannot, Cole stared at the stars. Then you carry what was good from it and build something else. She turned away before he could see the tears in her eyes. Neither of them noticed. The royal ship's emergency beacon, awakening deep inside the core. It happened quietly, a hidden system, designed for the fall of kingdoms, detected that the last heir of Oralis was alive. It drew power from the restored relays and completed a command written before Cole's grandparents were born. A narrow pulse of encrypted light escaped into space. Message was simple. The blood of Oralis survives. Across the galaxy, old machines heard it, so did newer ones. The first warning appeared on Cole's console as an amber flash. He frowned and leaned forward. That is not mine. Leora stepped behind him. What is it? Encrypted transmission. Origin point. His voice faded. Her face went pale. My ship. Cole looked at her. What did it send? Leora read the data with growing horror. An emergency royal beacon. It was designed to activate only if the Empire collapsed and an heir survived. Cole stared at the stars ahead. Can we shut it down? She worked quickly over the console, but the signal had already gone. No, she whispered. The first pulse escaped. Cole turned back to navigation. Who will hear it? Leora's silence was answer enough. After a long moment, she said, anyone who still remembers what my name means. 3 hours later, long-range sensors detected ships. 3 of them. They emerged from hyperspace beyond the trade lane and adjusted course toward the beacon trail. Cole killed the automatic transponder. Leora looked at him. What are you doing? Making us harder to find. You do not know if they are enemies. I do not know if they are friends either. He changed course manually and guided both vessels toward an asteroid field orbiting a dead moon. The rust finch slipped between towers of frozen stone, towing the royal ship into shadow. The 3 unknown vessels passed at a distance, scanning. Cole dimmed every non-essential system. Even the cockpit lights faded to near darkness. Leora stood beside him, watching the sensor display. You are risking your life for someone you met yesterday. Cole did not look away from the controls. You were asleep for 300 years. I think you have had enough bad days. She stared at him. No one had ever defended her with such plain words, not for politics, not for loyalty, not for bloodline, just because the unknown ships searched for nearly an hour before moving on. Only when they disappeared from sensors did Cole breathe again. Leora walked silently back to the ceremonial chamber. The crystal crown from her stasis capsule rested on a pedestal. Glowing softly, she picked it up. It was lighter than she remembered, or perhaps she had changed. When she returned to the cockpit, Cole was checking fuel levels. She opened a small toolbox beside his chair and placed the crown inside among wrenches, wire coils, and spare bolts. Cole blinked. That is a crown. Yes. You put it in my toolbox. Yes. Is that normal royal behavior? No. For the first time, Leora smiled fully. If those ships board us, they will search vaults, hidden chambers, and royal containers. They will not search a mechanic's toolbox. Cole looked at the crown among his tools. My father would have loved this. Why? He always said the safest place for anything valuable was where rich people were too proud to look. Leora laughed. The sound filled the cockpit like sunlight. 3 days later, they reached Meridian Station. It was not beautiful. It was loud, crowded, patched together from old docking rings and recycled cargo frames. Repair crews shouted across hangars. Pilots argued over fuel prices. Children chased one another between vending machines while exhausted. Workers drank coffee from cracked cups. Leora watched from the window. There is no palace, she said. Cole guided the ships toward a private repair bay. No palace, but decent people mostly. She looked at the station again. People helped one another lift heavy parts. Mechanics shared tools. A woman in a stained uniform gave food to an old pilot who clearly could not pay. Nobody bowed. Nobody announced titles, and somehow, the place felt alive in a way her court rarely had. Cole spent nearly all his savings on parts for her ship. Leora noticed every transaction. When they were alone in the hangar, she finally asked, "Why are you doing this?" Cole looked up from an invoice. "Doing what?" "Spending everything you have on a ship that is not truly yours." He folded the invoice slowly. "When I bought that vessel, I thought I was buying scrap. Then I found you inside it." He looked toward the royal ship. "That changed the deal. You could sell it. I could. You could sell me." His expression hardened instantly. "No." The force of the word surprised her. Cole's voice softened, but his eyes did not. "You are not salvage." Leora could not speak. For 3 centuries, she had slept in a machine made to preserve royal blood. Since waking, she had feared becoming a symbol, a weapon, a prize, or a relic. Cole had called her none of those things. He had called her a person. That night, while station lights glowed over the hangar, Leora stood before the repaired royal ship. The vessel reflected gold and blue along its silver hull. Beside it, the rust finch looked small, scarred and stubborn, like its captain. Cole joined her with 2 cups of coffee. She accepted one without complaint this time. "I have been thinking," she said. "That sounds dangerous." "It is," he smiled. She looked at the ship. "My whole life I was told my blood gave me duty. My name gave me purpose. My crown gave me worth." She touched the small toolbox where the crown was hidden. "But everything that name protected is gone." Cole remained quiet. "The beacon may bring loyalists," she continued, "or hunters, or people who want to use me to rebuild something that should remain buried. What do you want?" The question struck her harder than any command. What do you want? No advisor had ever asked her that. No general, no emperor, no court. Leora looked at the station, at ordinary people living ordinary lives beneath ordinary lights. Then she looked at Cole. "I want my people to be remembered," she said. "Not as an empire, not as a throne. As people who loved music and gardens and stars." Cole nodded. "Then we start there." "How?" He lifted his coffee cup toward the royal ship. "We restore your archives. We save the songs, the maps, the stories. We give the dead back their names." Leora's eyes filled with tears. "You would help me do that?" Cole shrugged gently. "I fix broken things." She laughed through the tears. Then she extended her hand toward him, palm upward. In my culture, she said, this gesture was offered when two houses agreed to walk one road. Cole looked at her hand. Do not have a house, you have a ship. It leaks. You have tools. Most are stolen from better mechanics. You have honor, she said. Cole looked away. Suddenly uncomfortable, Leora stepped closer. Cole Arden, I woke in a galaxy that had forgotten me. I expected fear, greed, or chains. Instead, I found a man who opened a door and chose kindness before profit. Her voice became soft. If House Oralis has any future, I will not build it on crowns. I will build it on memory. And if you are willing, I would like you beside me. Cole took her hand. His hand was rough, marked by burns and old cuts. Hers was smooth, shaped by a life he could barely imagine. Yet when their fingers closed, the distance between centuries felt smaller. Outside the hangar, station workers continued their lives, unaware that history had shifted quietly beside them. The last princess of a dead empire did not reclaim a throne that night. She chose a mechanic, she chose memory over power. She chose a future over a crown, and in the shadow of an old salvage tug and a restored royal ship, two survivors from different worlds began the work of saving an empire from being forgotten, not by rebuilding its armies, not by raising its banners, but by telling its stories. Because some treasures are never lost, they only wait for the right human to find them.